luôn.
That guy wear gloves. If I was one of those girls who feed them, then Mom, if I didn't.
All right, how's everyone doing today?
Good.
Good. Glad to hear it. Well, welcome to Alligator Adventure. My name is Garrett. To my left is my good friend Emily. We're both zookeepers here. Now, before I begin, I'm just going to explain what we're about to do, then some rules and regulations that apply here and all over our park. Now, what me and Emily are going to be doing is be dangling a piece of chicken for these hungry alligators, have them jump up, catch chicken in their mouth. See if I can get a demonstration here. Go in their mouths, tell you some cool things about alligators, so on and so forth. But before we do that, we have to go over some rules that apply here and all over our park. Now, there should be no kids sitting or standing on these low wooden fences. Also, there should be no kids sitting on the shoulders or standing on the shoulders. These are just some rules that apply because if someone happens to bump into you and your child falls, they can easily break an arm, break a leg, or fall into one of the alligator pens and get attacked because alligators cannot tell the difference between a screaming child and a piece of chicken. So, when it looks safe, me and Emily will begin. How's it looking on your side? Good? Alright, thank you guys for complying with that. Now, what you see before you are known as American alligators. American alligators can be found ranging from North Carolina all the way down to Florida and as far west as Texas. Now, the American alligator actually grows about a foot every single year it's born. So it's safe to say a 3-foot alligator is about 3 years old, 4-foot alligator is about 4 years old. Now, with that being said, they do slow down their rate of growth around 7 or 8 years old. So a male alligator can actually reach a length of about 15 feet, weighing anywhere between 800 and 1,200 pounds, while a female alligator can only reach a length of about 9 feet, weighing anywhere between 600 and 700 pounds. So the males will be larger in this case. Now, American alligators can live for about 50 years in the wild and about 60 years in captivity. Now, as you guys are noticing, these alligators can jump pretty darn high. The average American alligator can jump half its body length out of water. So you can imagine a 10-foot gator jumping about 10 feet towards us. It's kind of a scary thing, which is why you see us dangle chicken, and as soon as they jump up, we throw the chicken in their mouth and get our hands out of there. Because they have a bite force of about 2,000 pounds per square inch, which is enough to break bones, shatter skulls, and crush a cinder block to dust in one bite. So obviously, we don't want our hands anywhere near that when that mouth closes. Now, even though they do have powerful closing jaw force, their opening jaws are very, very weak, which is why they can be held together with just our hands or with electrical tape. Now, you guys also might hear a slight popping sound. That's all of the force coming down at once. So if you guys hear that, it's pretty loud, pretty scary to hear. Also, as they're jumping up, or you can see in the embankment, you notice those little spiny things on their back. Those are called osteoderms. Osteo meaning bone, dermal meaning skin, so bony skin. These are in fact scales, although they do not shed like other reptiles, but grow with them over time. Now, these osteoderms help them in 2 ways. One is to actually act like a solar panel to help them absorb the sun, because they are ectothermic, which means they can't produce their own body heat. Also, these osteoderms help them like a suit of armor to protect from any kind of bites, scrapes, bites, things like that. Now, you may be wondering how me and Emily can feed all these hungry gators. Obviously, there's a lot of them and only a few of us, but if you've been paying close attention, you'll notice that alligators are rotational feeders, which means the ones that are hungry will be up here, jumping at almost every little piece of chicken I have in my hand, and the ones that aren't as hungry will be hanging out in the back, soaking up the sun, probably not caring too much about what's being thrown. Because a piece like this that I have in my hand will actually last them for about a week. They do use pretty much all they intake. They use about 80% of what they eat. and only waste about 20, whereas we waste about 80% and only use 20. Now, even though they're rotational feeders, they are opportunists, which means if something happens to fall next to their face, they'll still go for it regardless if they're hungry or not, because they will eat, because they are opportunists. Now, like I said, they are jumping up pretty high. They're actually using their tail to jump. That tail is extremely powerful. It's able to push their body halfway up out of the water to jump. They actually only use their tail to swim, which means they'll put their arms and legs right by their body to make a streamline effect, and only use that tail to swim. So without a tail, they would surely drown in the wild, which is why Bob, our tailless alligator, has her own enclosure and has her own shallow pool area. They also use that tail as a defense mechanism, as a whip, to whip any kind of other alligators, any kind of other animals that come near it. Now you're wondering, as they're jumping up, how come they're not choking on the chicken now, throwing down their throat? That's a good question. They have what's called a gillifold in the back of their mouth that pushes up and closes off their throat. So if you ever notice an alligator opening its mouth or has its mouth open, you can't see all the way down its throat like you can see ours. Now that actually prevents them from choking on the water and drowning, or choking on any kind of fish they catch underwater. So that's a good adaptation that they have obtained. Now I'm down to my last 2 pieces of chicken. I'm going to see if I can get a couple good jumpers. Want y'all to listen to that slight popping sound that I've been talking about. There's one. There's the other. As soon as Emily is done, that will conclude our show. If you have any questions for Emily or I, we will be exiting right by that snack bar. Feel free to come chat with us. If not, make sure you do follow the rules. No kids on shoulders. No kids on these low wooden fences. And we also have a 2 o'clock reptile show at our bleachers. Feel free to come check that out. Other than that, thank you all for coming out. Have a great day at Alligator Adventure.
Ready? Put there.
You're not having any at all. Alright, everybody look, first. This is first.